Hi everyone, this is audap, and let's continue our game of The Letter running on Series X. The Suarez's infamous tortilla de patatas. Those things are a hazard. You can probably use one to bludgeon someone into submission with how huge they are. It's a miracle Kylie can still be so energetic. I had trouble staying awake the first time I had one. Speaking of staying awake...
Well, I need some coffee in me at the very least. But if you'd like, you can jump straight to dessert.
Yes! Dessert, please!
It's easy enough to manage Kylie with the promise of sweets, thankfully. The hard part is managing her before she gets the sweets, because I nearly have a heart attack when the kid races down the stairs. Just the thought of her slipping and breaking her neck is enough to make me rush down after her.
Oh, slow down! The food isn't going anywhere.
The food is going somewhere. In my tummy.
Jesus fucking Christ. Children.
With a shake of my head, I usher Kylie towards the parlor and order a maid to bring food for us. Whatever breakfast there is, along with a cup of coffee for me and an ice cream for Kylie. But I can't leave the kid alone for too long, unless I want to let her run the other room into a slaughter ground. True to my expectations, I've only left Kylie alone for a few minutes, but she's already made herself comfortable. The stuff from her backpack has been left scattered across the room, from coloring books and crayons to toys. She's well equipped to amuse herself with no trouble, though I can certainly breathe a little easier if she won't bring her doll along every time she visits. Narcissa, or Cisa, is a creepy little bugger. It doesn't help when Kylie left her during one. Finding the thing at the bottom of the stairs staring up at me at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning is a memory that won't be leaving me anytime soon. Even now it stares at me from where it's seated. I'm wholly tempted to just throw the thing into the fireplace and banish it from whence it came. I can buy her a prettier doll, a better toy. It will break, find a way to get rid of it if it wasn't from Hana, and if only Kylie isn't so attached to it. The thing is, some antique doll she found for the brat's 6th birthday, one of a kind. My darling Hana loves her so. And Kylie does try to be a good goddaughter, but she just can't keep her interest long with the wife. It's not something that Hana does wrong on her part. She does try so very, very hard. It's just that she doesn't quite know how to really handle children. She'd never been around other children when she was young, surrounded by protective adults who catered to her every whim and worried for her safety every minute. When she isn't able to keep up with Kylie, her first instinct is to be strict. Impose rules on the child, treat her as if she is made of spun glass, like every movement might break her. I, at least, have some idea from being around street kids. I know the games they've played and how they think. I know the scraps and skinned knees are all part of childhood, even how I grew up. I had time to be a child and not some sheltered heiress. With Kylie? As behaved as she can be, with her toys and her books and arts, she has to use up all her energy somehow. To run around the playground and make a mess in the mud, or even to just fake wrestle for a short while. Let her be a child when she wants, I'll say. If it becomes too much, just bribe her with sweets and ship her back to her papa. Problem solved. Unfortunately, Hana isn't quite up for those sort of things most of the time, thinking it'll spoil the child. It turns the whole playdate awkward every time. Taking the last seat left, I pluck one of her coloring books from the table to see it filled with dinosaurs. Not exactly what I expected to see for a little girl, but it doesn't hurt anyone. If she wants to play with dolls and cars, or dolls with their cars, what do I care? She once put dolls' tutus on model cars even.
Oh, this is a new one. The last one you had was filled with horses, wasn't it?
Those were ponies, Tio. They're much cuter than horses. But we went to a dinosaur zoo, and it was awesome! Dinosaurs are my favorite.
I have no idea what that is, but it must be something. I'm only familiar with the T-Rex myself.
Yeah, they found, fossils of its claws. They're really long. They think the whole theory might be a bazillion meters tall, even bigger than a T-Rex. Cisa says it'll be big enough to eat all my classmates.
She only laughs as I scrunch up my nose and grimace.
Takako says you're making a really funny face.
Taka who?
Takako, a friend I made.
I have to stop and look around, expecting one of the help to be there. The child does have a way of befriending just about anyone as long as she puts her mind to it. The two of us are completely alone. Thankfully, she only finds my disturbed look as another funny grown-up expression. That might be a lot more problematic than whether she plays with dolls or cars, though. Both the thoughts of Sisa giving Kylie ideas and one of said ideas being massacred by dinosaur, something I probably need to bring up with her father aside from work. But beyond murderous dinosaurs, creepy dolls, and imaginary friends, I find no trouble with Kylie. She's as energetic and precocious as any tyke her age can be. She's an angel if she can get comfy and settled in after her sweets. We tuck into our waffles as soon as food is brought in. Our waffles being she wanted her own plate to go with the ice cream as soon as she saw mine. A fresh plate of berries is brought in as well, which really goes great with the rest of the feast, as Kylie put it. And if I indulge in the sweetness, I have a cup of black coffee to pair off with it. With our bellies full, Kylie grows content with just scribbling on a scrap of paper and calmly chatting about her week. She talks of her older brother Rowan and their parents, and how they plan to go to the Bloxland in Berkshire for the winter holidays. She mentions Miss Pink, Rebecca, which I listened to with half an ear. Our initial meeting had been a mess, but I can't quite find myself to listen to stories about her teaching wholeheartedly, the phantom sting in my hand still itching. The little brat is quick to defend her favorite academic as well. The woman has yet to offer a proper apology, and she wishes to give one on her behalf, all diplomatic like a tutor. She talks of the sad man in the park, and of her new friend who likes to play hide-and-seek when she's not sniffing in the loo. When finally she finds nothing new to talk about, she goes back to her drawings. That'll change as soon as her stomach settles, of course, the calm before the storm. Because behaved as she is right now, I can feel the curiosity just radiating off her. There's a restlessness buzzing under her skin and a question on the tip of her tongue, as they often are with children her age. But for now, I can take this piece with no complaint for however long it lasts. I have fun with the crayons as well, at the child's insistence, even if I can't really draw. With Kylie using the black crayon, that leaves me with the blue one. I absent-mindedly start to draw a puppy to the best of my abilities. It's as I attempt to give the doodle dog another eye that Kylie breaks her silence.
Tio? Where did Tia go? I saw them leave when I got here. Tia didn't look so good.
I've been expecting a lot of different questions. The kid has a whole bunch of them ready for me, but I can only sigh when she posed this particular one.
She's just going to the doctor's for a checkup.
And as kids go, there are follow-up questions.
And you didn't go with her?
Well, you were going to be here, sweetie, so I had to stay behind.
So she's all alone? At the hospital?
Oh, no, of course not. Tia has her Hans and her maid and a guard. She's got plenty of company.
Yeah, but you're not with her.
If I didn't know better, I'd say the kid is trying to make me feel guilty. I want to say that the little tyke is evil for making me feel so.
But I understand. When I get sick, Papa and Mama have to leave me with their maids, too.
Oh, they don't take care of you?
That doesn't sound right. Even my mom took care of me when I was sick as a child.
Well, they're always busy with work.
Oh, I see. I guess that's no good.
I know she doesn't mean to accuse me of anything, but as her father's boss, maybe I do overwork Suarez a bit. There's a lot of responsibilities that only he is capable of carrying out. Delegation is a thing, sure, but when said responsibilities are legally questionable at best, putting others to the task isn't always an option. But
Maybe your papa is in need of some vacation time. He deserves it, doesn't he? He's a hard worker. I could arrange something for the holidays.
I could cut him some slack. Some of his assignments can wait. I can't do much for her mom. She isn't one of my employees, but this would have to suffice. It would be worth it if it makes the little girl happy. Besides, just like that, the somber look on her face turns into one of pure joy. It's like looking at a little sun, warm and bright. It's nice to do something kind every now and then.
Would you really, Tio?
Would you like that?
I'd like that very much, yeah! We can go to this museum! There's one with lots of cool trains and planes! I like trains! And there's the local Manor theme park! And a monkey forest! There's a kid adventure farm too, the wacky warehouse, and a play barn as well, and...
Whoa, slow down there, Munchkin. I know you're excited, but I think you should let me schedule your dad's day off before you plan a whole year's worth of stuff.
There's an embarrassed giggle, but she does reeled herself in enough to calm down, which is a feat in and of itself. It's obvious how giddy she is. And if she wasn't looking forward to the holidays before, like any child should, she does now.
I think Tia would be really happy if you were with her. You could have told me you needed to go to the hospital with her, Teal. I won't be angry.
I'd love to be with her, but I wanted to spend time with you, Munchkin. And she told me to stay. Besides, I don't like hospitals. They always smell like alcohol. Not the good kind either.
I don't think anybody likes hospitals. They're scary. But you said Tia is brave and strong.
That she is.
A content silence comes over us as we go back to scribbling. Though I stop when I'm done with my blue dog, cringing at how awful it looks. Kylie reprimands me for that because I should be like her. The little tyke goes through several sheets of paper, one drawing after another. Practicing, she says, because practice makes perfect. Not to mention, there's a drawing contest coming up in class, and she just has to beat Tim from Class D, who says girls can't be superheroes. The clay gets a turn too, before we start sculpting food and pretending we're Michelin chefs. When we're too tired from tossing pizza and making cakes, there's no trouble in finding another activity more relaxing for the both of us. I find myself invested in reading the picture of Dorian Gray once more. Often I lose myself in the pages of the book. However, it is rather difficult to do so when I'm also trying to keep an eye and ear out for Kylie. I've been reading the same paragraph over and over again, even. Inexplicably, I can feel my skin crawl when the girl sits with Narcissa by the parlor's fireplace humming, singing, though I ignore it long enough to hear only the tail end of the song.
Everything is up in flames, up in flames, up in flames. Everything is up in flames, my fair lady.
I don't think I can spend any more time with Kylie considering how high-strung I feel, so it is a good thing that Suarez came for her as soon as I've called. Though it is earlier than the agreed-upon time, he voices no complaint. The bastard even has a look of relief as soon as they left. Or at least I interpreted it as such from where I've stood by one of the windows, not bothering to step out and greet the man. No doubt he still doesn't trust me around his spawn. Well, he has every right to be suspicious of me. I am a dangerous man, after all. But to my chagrin, that leaves me with the rest of the day with nothing to do. Well, aside from picking up the mess Kylie left scattered about in the parlor. To my immense relief, she remembered to take the doll home with her this time. But the same cannot be said of the crayons and papers littered here and there. First things first. I snatch my own doodle off the table and rip it to shreds, leaving no hope that it will see the light of day. The rest of the drawings, all Kylie's, remain unharmed as I collect the lot. Though they have been stacked neatly on the table before, they must have been blown about when I saw Kylie off. And there are plenty of them. From cats and cakes to colorful rainbows and gardens, the child manages to make a lot during her morning here. There is one more that I have to fish out of the fireplace where it landed. Expecting to see another one of Kylie's masterpieces, I am instead greeted with something a bit more concerning. There's me, and there's Kylie, the two of us, side by side, smiling as our stick figure cells stand in a nondescript field. That much I can ascertain without looking at the labels below the doodle's feet. But a third figure stands next to me in the drawing. A woman with her face hidden behind a curtain of black. Takako, the writing under her supplies.
Takako says you're making a really funny face.
Taka who?
Takako, a friend I made.
The hairs on the back of my neck stand on end, and I feel a chill go down my spine. A breath. That isn't mine. This has me turning around, expecting, hoping to see someone, anyone. But nothing. And that's when I hear it. Laughter, sweet and merry laughter ringing from the ballroom. Thinking about it has my cheeks burning and my blood running hot. It's as if I am being mocked. As I stomp towards the door, I have to stop myself from shouting up a storm. I expected to see some of the help, dallying about, idle from their duties. Perhaps they thought they could slack off in their duties without the head butler around with my preoccupation with Kylie. Well, they had another thing coming. But again, nothing. Nothing for what I can see with a cursory glance, at the very least. I roam around looking for near impossible hiding places, and still I am all alone. Yet I can still hear the laughter, the accursed laughter, echoing about in the room, in my head.
Who's there? Show yourselves and show some respect to the master of the house!
Cold uneasiness settles in my stomach when no one answers. I stumble on my own 2 feet, feeling a wave of nausea come from nowhere. I have to put a hand against the wall to stay upright when the world shifts and pain explodes from beyond my eyes. It takes every ounce of my self-control not to heave then and there. The only thing my pride allowed me to do then is to close my eyes and attempt to alleviate some of the pain. Vague, unfamiliar images, dare I say memories not mine, flash in my head, unbidden and unwelcome. Like a strong hammer strike to the head, threatening to crack my skull and split it in two. Whatever emotions they hold are muted. I'm nothing but a spectator. Still, its weight feels palpable. Though it doesn't take long for these sensations to get into my head, through my eyes and my ears, it creeps and buzzes in the spaces between. Whispers and accusations fill every crevice of my head, ringing and echoing around like a terrible case of tinnitus. They stare, gazes filled with judgment and disgust. Even before their beloved lady has spoken, she's already condemned.
This horrid woman! I beg the court for justice! Who knows what this devil's bride is capable of? She has already bewitched my love, my betrothed. I just cannot bear to think of what she has done to him after. Or what else she may do to our people if we let her live. Blood taints this woman's hands, and I deserve to be repaid in kind for that which she has taken from me.
There is nothing for her but death, and she knows this. Her silence says as much. One after the other, they come at me, an unending flood that threatens to sweep me away from what feels like an eternity. Each one a show of both joy and suffering for those who have called this mansion their home. Each new scene is like a hammer to the head, threatening to crack my skull and split it in two. I can feel every emotion in the blurry images that present itself in my head. I feel a part of these, like I've lived through them, though I know that's not possible. All their anger burns through me, that much is evident, but the pain more so. And above it all, there are the whispers. The voices calling, luring until one image emerges in vivid contrast with the others. When there's a shout of joy, my eyes snap open, looking for the culprit. That's when the whole room just changes. Everything is the same, yet everything isn't. There are people everywhere, laughing and dancing. I should be concerned about them, but my mind finds it easy to dismiss them as they fade in and out from nothingness. Instead, I find my concentration drawn to a man and a woman, though one can only call them a lord and lady, going by their clothes. And oh, just how happy the couple looks. Though the man's eyes are eerily blank, like he's not all there, his face is familiar though. In fact, they both are, but I can't quite place why. The two of them make for a pretty picture as they dance in the center of the ballroom. Even the phantom crowd's attention stay on them. It reminds me so much of Hannah and I during the early days of our marriage, the honeymoon years they call it. We were happy then too, all smiles and her sunshine, even with the normal dreary weather. Younger, we had less to worry about, or at least thought that way. I wished we could go on that way even with all that I did and had to do. But life has a way of catching up. There was work to be done. Although we had to stay the loving, perfect couple in public, I could not afford to look so weak. To appear tied down to someone else, to those who I knew who I really am. I had to harden my heart when I had business, but it hadn't always been so easy just to switch that part of me on and off. I should be concerned about their intrusion too. I ask what in the bloody hell they are doing in my house, throwing a party as if they own the place. I ask myself how the fuck I didn't notice what was going on before, when the parlor and the foyer are both only a few doors away. But I have the feeling that yelling and screaming at them won't do much of anything anyway. None of the others had given me notice. I realize that this might not even be real. It dawns on me that these two are the people from the paintings, the ones all over the mansion. Which makes sense. I don't think I'm imaginative enough to make this all up in my own. This must be a dream. Or a really horrible high. Just then I can feel eyes on me as I contemplate the absurdity of the situation. Yet I find difficulty in trying to tear my eyes away from the two dancing. I manage. And I regret looking away. The woman from the balcony stands beside me. I can hear her rattling breath, menacing and chilling. Everything in me screams to run. But something pins me to the spot as she just looks at me, watching and waiting. The clamor of their voices fill the ballroom. Although they say such welcoming words, I do not feel comforted by the madness I'm experiencing. Their joyous voices turn sinister and foreboding to my ears. The chorus of people that shouldn't exist, threaten to overwhelm me, drown me even as I stand on dry land. The music still plays as the Phantom Quartet continues while I stand there, vulnerable and afraid, but the dance has already ended. And I'm afraid that I might just be tonight's entertainment. Attention is all well and good until bollocks like this go down. These phantom people watch me, thousands of eyes scrutinizing, though they cheer for my return, cajole me to dance and join the merriment. There are eager hands all over, pulling me in every direction, but they do not move me enough to remove me from the woman's gaze.
Listen. Can you not hear them as they welcome you home? Your kind, our kind. You're one of us, my love. We are bonded by the blood we share.
If I thought the voices were overwhelming before, it is nothing compared to how they are now. Their voices are loud, speaking in unison, echoing ever on in the spaces of my head. They welcome me back, as if I've always belonged, as if I was meant to be here in the first place. They call me all these titles and names that do not belong to me, and that man's face, the one with the empty eyes, flashes again before me, once fleetingly, like a new memory having been burned itself into my mind. I have to struggle for air when I come back to myself after.
I'm not. This isn't...
The welcomes turn into screams at my protest, pained and desperate pleas for my help, telling me that it is my duty to stay, telling me that I belonged among them, to them. Gentle touches turn near threatening, the warning scratches and the baring of teeth by predators before they truly maim someone. My mouth goes dry as I struggle to speak some sense in this hallucinatory madness, but I don't get the chance until as they drown out my voice.
Our lord, my prince.
At her words, there is a compulsion to stay. Though my heart races in my chest, the fear I should be experiencing refuses to register in my head. Mind and body war with each other, nearly tearing me in two. Oh, you finally returned to us. The compulsion to walk into her arms is strong. Whispers in my head tell me to go to her. They say that she is safety, she is home and heart. We have been waiting for so long. But repulsed at these thoughts, I wrench away and turn with a small gasp. Without hesitation, I start to make a run for it. I nearly falter when an angry shriek pierces the air, inhumane and monstrous. I don't dare look back. I just run. I didn't care if this is a drug-induced hallucination or not. I just run. Out of the ballroom. Out of the parlor. It's only then that I bother to look back, hoping and praying to the god I scorn that it did not pursue me. I would have run all the way out of the mansion too, if only someone didn't get in my way. I collide with a body much larger than mine and fall back to the ground, head spinning as I look up at the stained glass. Turning my head to the side replaces the colorful sight with a pair of shiny black shoes. Fatigue fills every inch of my being then, making me refuse to get up. Meanwhile, a familiar head of ginger looks down at me in bemusement.
You really must look where you're going if you insist on running about. Do tell, where is the fire?
Oh, thank God you're here!
I do hope you don't have a concussion. Can you count backwards from 15 to 1 for me?
Oh, fuck off, you wanker! Just help me up!
I do not think insulting me if you do have a concussion is a smart decision. But no, really. 15 to 1.
That woman, she was here! I told you to keep an eye out for her!
The other man offers an arm and pulls me up to my feet then. But before I can storm off and pull him into the ballroom, he anchors me down with one hand on my shoulder and the other touching the back of my head.
No bruising or bump. That still does not mean that you don't have a concussion. If you are too lazy to count backwards, can you tell me your full name? Where are you currently?
We don't have... Lucille Mitchell Wright. And this is the Ermengarde bloody fucking foyer. But we don't have time for this.
You must make and have the time to make sure you are not broken in the head. I have already sent security to scour the whole house when I saw you running out of the parlor, Dummkopf. If the woman is here, they will have her. You will only be slowing them down if you plan to interfere.
When he points that out, I realize that there are guards starting to filter into the house as we speak, with some already searching the nearby rooms. Armed and uniformed men go about in pairs, making it so that the house is in a flurry of activity. He lets go of me, with the knowledge that I am not going to keel over anytime soon.
I was hoping that you would be tired from dealing with the young miss on my return. Instead, you come running and hit your head. Such a troublesome boy. Shall I be carrying you to bed, too?
I can manage just fine on my own. Though I don't see how I can sleep until that woman is caught.
It'll be easier to keep you safe in your quarters. This is twice we've known the woman to break in. I think we can safely presume that you hold her interest.
He says that as a matter of fact, in a tone that brook no argument. Not like I'll argue if it means I am kept safe. The two of us hurry upstairs, though we remain watchful and wary of any potential threats to my person. We make it to the master bedroom without any trouble, though, and two of the security are left outside the door. No problems at all. Not until we get inside. Johan's eyes scan the room wildly, and a look of dread on his usually stoic face. And I don't understand for a moment. Looking around the bedroom, it's empty. But then I realize...
Where's Hana? She came home with you from the hospital, didn't she?
She's supposed to be here. I sent one of the maids to accompany her here, to let her rest.
I feel the color drain from my face when he raises a hand to stop me from charging out there.
Stay.
I'm not staying in here while Hana stays out there.
One of the guards will find her and bring her here.
And what if they don't? What if that woman gets to her first? What if she already has her?
That's not possible.
You can't promise that.
There's no second thought as I reach under my side of the bed and pull out one of my knives. I have no doubt that the other man can take me on if we are both unarmed. But with this, I can even the field, or at least deter him from escalating the situation and risking hurting either of us.
I'm going out there to look for Hana, and you're either with me or you aren't. I'm not risking Hana, and I'm not leaving her alone.
Still, like a stubborn mule, he refuses to budge from the door. There's a withering look on him that I try to match. One that somehow I am losing fast to, even with him not saying a word yet.
Can you see yourself in the mirror right now? You are in no proper state to go looking for anyone. If it will make you happy, I will do the looking. But please, and don't make me repeat this, stay where it's safe, where security can find you. We already have one person to be worried about. Please don't add another one to it.
Perhaps that is his tone. In spite of his general disdain for virtually everything that has to do with me, I'd like to think that over the years he has grown to care for Hana, at least. Much as I loathe to admit this, I trust him with her safety over any servant in this house. So, and acquiesce.
You have 2 hours, Shirokin. I don't think it'll take that long to find one missing woman in this house. 2 hours. Any more than that, and I'm going out there.
Of course.
Despite his words, he lingers. If I didn't know any better, I'd say he wants to make sure I get in that damn bed and sleep before he turns away from me. What am I, a child? Watching me and treating me like one? That's the reason why we never get along.
Well, what are you waiting for?
And the knife?
The knife stays.
Very well.
Only then does he seem to get the hint. With a nod, he leaves, locks and closes the door behind him. For a moment, I still hear his voice while he gives the guards outside firm instructions. Then a hush as soon as he departs and his footsteps fade away. One that doesn't quite last. As quickly as the silence settles, lightning flashes across the sky, followed immediately by the loud boom of thunder. And that wanker strikes so dangerously close that I can feel the electricity in the air. The power goes out not a second later, and I feel as if I'm being mocked by whatever greater power there is. All is deathly still for a moment, but soon the rain starts once again. Far heavier than the light drizzle from this morning, its pitter-patter hitting hard against this place's roof. Despite the noise, I find myself drawn to my bed, exhausted, hoping for a little nap. I'm safe here. Hana will be safe too. Shrocken will find her, and when I awake, she'll be here. It does not take long. Once my head hits the pillow, in a matter of minutes, darkness claims me, bringing with it laughter and whispers of a twisted love from a time long ago.
Who are you? Stay away!
Sweet dreams, my love. It'll be over soon. November 1st, Tuesday. Yet, in spite of the unfamiliar voices and unwanted touches from shadows lurking in the dark, rousing is a slow, arduous process. Difficult, every limb heavy with lead. No matter my aversion for the words they murmur in my ears or the sight of her horrid smile from afar, my body refuses to yield. I am at their mercy. Beyond fathomable reason, my consciousness refuses my consciousness refuses the pull of the waking world, closer to linger in the pits of a dream, gradually drawing me deeper into unknown depths. Somehow, even if I might mean I may never open my eyes, I allow them.
You do not belong there, my prince.
Not that I mind getting a few extra hours, of course. The bed's more than comfortable as it is, after an exhausting day yesterday. Babysitting Kylie and the stress of finding an intruder in my own home. I think I deserve a little break every once in a while, especially after going through all that in a single day. I can only be on the receiving end of so many unacceptable things within the span of a few hours, you know? As gracious a host and person I am, my patience has its limits too. Though there's still the problem with Hana. I haven't forgotten that, of course, but that's why I hired Stroken. He's competent enough. He won't even last a day in my service if he's any lesser than those half-wits who think they can deceive me with sweet words. He's more than capable of working on his own without guidance. Let the butler take care of that little problem with Hana while I... Hana.
You do not need her. I am here. We are here. This is where your home is.
Where you belong, for the blood we share. Come back to us. How long has it been since? Johans has never taken this long before.
Surely there should have been an update by now. Right?
So why isn't there?
Please don't go.
Bloody hell, the cretins I've surrounded myself with.
And isn't that enough reason to force myself out of bed? As it has always been the case. My eyes fly open, expecting the warm rays of sunshine filtering through the curtains, only to be greeted by a blinding flash of light and a loud boom of thunder that sounded nearly too close to my ears. Strong gusts of wind will occasionally burst in from the open balcony door, bringing in drizzles of cold rain into the room. I must have left it open earlier before dozing off. The carpet on the floor closest to it is already drenched. Hana's going to be so cross when she sees this. Not that it's an immediate problem. If anything, it's the power outage we should be minding first. With the intruder still at large, steering through this darkness might be far more fatal than multiple stab wounds or a gunshot to the chest.
Oh, great. The power's still out. That is exactly what I need right now. Yes.
It's this storm, of course. I should have moved back to the penthouse to weather it in a much more comfortable setting. Already I can hear the creak and groans of this old place as rain beats against the windows.
Johans! Has someone been sent to take the circuit breaker yet?
No answer.
Johans!
Silence.
Shroken! Someone! Anyone?
Still nothing, and my cordial mood is quickly dissipating.
Where are those idiots when you need them?
It's really I wonder why he hasn't fixed this yet. Was I really out that long? Can't be. It's only been a few hours after midnight, if the time on my wristwatch is anything to go by. Unless I've forgotten to change it again, after that last overseas trip a month ago. Though the delay is understandable if he went looking for Hana as he promised. But bloody hell, my safety's also at stake here. Cursing, I stay still, letting my eyes try and adjust to the darkness while my hands fumble for my slippers. If that butler isn't going to fix this, I may as well order the security posted outside to do it. It's probably just a blown fuse. Anyone with a brain can repair one. Grabbing my jacket and my footwear finally on, I make for the door. Although in haste I pause briefly when a gleam catches my eye. One of my drawers, underneath the clutter I've yet to organize, the muzzle of a gun peeks out. Hana has never openly commented my possession of it, but I know she does not approve of it, knowing the bloody firearms policy in this nation. Of course, I've not found much use for it in the 7 years we've been together, otherwise she would have already had it thrown out years ago. Doesn't mean it won't be useful right now. Without a second thought, I seize it, sending the stuff piled above it onto the floor. Whatever. I'll get to it later. This blackout problem should be resolved first. Right next to my missing security detail, as it turns out.
Where the fuck did everyone go?
There were two, weren't there? Stroken had two blokes posted to stand guard for the night. I might be panicking for a bit earlier, but I'm sure I haven't gotten delusional yet. What? Did both of them decide to take a break? Because they think the master's already sound asleep and won't be looking for them?
Damn nitwits!
I know assassinations happen very rarely these days, and even less in a peaceful city like Luxburn, but bollocks. There's been a woman going in and out of this place uninvited who may or may not want to put a knife in my back. Isn't that enough reason to stay on alert? I'm fairly certain Stroken won't just enlist their help just for this power outage, only to leave me unprotected. We have a difficult friendship, so to speak, but I doubt that man is an opportunist. I'm holding the lives of his family in my hands, after all. He knows what I am capable of doing. He's not stupid enough to do anything that'll endanger them and save only himself. So, where then? Only my footsteps echo in the dark passage, and I am left gripping the handles of my pistol for some sort of comfort. Without proper lighting, and with this storm still raging outside, the stories I've heard about this place seem to have some truth to it. Some. If I'm reaching and wish to entertain myself a bit, I'll say there might also be ghosts whispering in my ears, calling. Of course, it's just the wind and the trees rustling outside. Nothing good will come of allowing these thoughts to linger when problems are piling up in front of me one after another, especially with what greets me once I get to the foyer. Though it's dark, the large windows illuminate the area much more easily than any of the other rooms. From where I stand at the top of the stairs, I can easily make out their forms, recognize them even. It's all gone crazy when these intruders come into my house. I'm no stranger to a cop playing dirty. The smart ones knew that neither life nor criminals are going to play fair. And if one of this wog's sort is in on this, I'm not surprised too. But Lily, the estate agent, she doesn't seem the sort. And Daisy, too? What will Kylie think of her Miss Pink if the poor tyke finds out about this? Not to mention Mint. Hannah trusted her. I trusted her to be a professional at the very least, for fuck's sake. To top it all off, they all have the nerve to look surprised when I announce my presence.
Well, well, what have we here? If I were any less sober, I'd say this is the beginning of a joke.
Bloody trespassers. What is wrong with these people? Do they think I'd really be fine with them walking into my home like this? What are they even doing in here? If I didn't know any better, they might also be behind Hannah's disappearance.
That's right, my love.
They must have a motive.
Make them pay
And it better be a good one.
for all the wrong made to us.
Or a bullet to the head is the least all of them will deserve.
Let's see. A photographer, a high school teacher, a real estate agent, an interior designer walk into a mansion.
Thunder crackles once again, cutting me off. This time its sound hits close enough that it nearly feels as if the windows and the ground itself are rumbling. All is deathly still for a moment. I don't let it stop me, however, as I slowly make my way towards them, taking one careful step at a time, relishing the expression of fear in their eyes. I suppose there's something ominous in this setting, with the heavy rain outside and the lack of light here. I kind of like it, to be honest. Add something to the atmosphere. I suppose I must look like the villain now. But, short of me getting close to them, a noise to my left distracts me, briefly halting my movement while curiosity takes over every murmurs in my head. And it's a good thing, perhaps, that I did, because as soon as I look up, I see him. Another trespasser. Right. Just as he's about to jump down from the furniture that has somehow ended up piled and blocking the door to the parlor. What happened there? And did he really think it all right to do that in other people's house? Lout.
Teach him, my lord. Put him in his place.
My hand's already moving before my rationale could stop me, fingers firm at my gun when I finally release the safety from it and take aim. Not at him, but at his friends. They are his, aren't they? Why else would they be here together? Doesn't matter, he won't let the people he cares about be harmed. My fingers on the trigger more than itching to shoot, but I hold back. Sure, I could have simply taken aim at him, but more than seeing him bleed, I want to see the expression on his face once he realizes everything he's doing is futile. He's trapped. Lives are in my hand. His life in my hand.
Had I known there would be a party in my own home tonight, I would have opened a bloody bottle or two. People these days, in my own home, can you believe it? I feel so left out.
I can tell the exact moment the realization dawns on him. A short second of his body freezing and blood draining from his face. As soon as his feet hits the floor and he looks up, he's already a prey trapped in his own recklessness.
Pathetic.
And really, Daisy, even you, what would Kylie say?
Luke, this isn't what you're thinking. You have to listen to us. There's something going on here.
Well, obviously, why else would people be trespassing in my home? What about little Lily over there, then? What's your excuse? Checking back if your clients are doing okay? Is that it? Is this what this is?
We're doing good, by the way.
Sir, please.
Oh, please, what?
Becca's right, sir. We need to get out of this place. You need to leave.
Not a good enough excuse, darling. You people are the ones who need to get out of my sight. Don't worry, I might consider pressing lighter charges for the woman. Can't say the same for the rest of you. But really now, I swear the people of this city need to be taught the meaning of privacy. This is how you want to start the week. Why don't we just go with a bloody massacre if we want to surprise people in their homes, huh?
It's just a passing remark, of course. I'm not stupid enough to do something that'll bring negative attention to myself, reputation and all that. I just can't risk it. The thought of having dead bodies here, ones that I'm not even responsible for, they're the ones who trespassed. It's already quite too much. It'll literally be overkill, especially for someone like me. Nevertheless, joke or not, Feathers wastes no time drawing his own gun at the slight wave of my own, even if he knows it's already too late. Still, he glares at me. Still, he fights back.
Now, Feathers. Manners. You're in no position to be pointing that gun at people.
There's no desperation in him like I'm hoping, just an annoyance flickering shortly before being hidden underneath a challenge. The likes of him are the kind of people I hate the most. Even with their failures already glaring down at them, mocking every worthless move they make, they have the impudence to stare people in the eye.
Why don't you put yours down first, and then we'll talk about manners.
Oh, he talks back. The gall! You know, your kind pisses me off so much.
Annoying most of the time, like a damn pest you can't be rid of. But to some degree it is commendable. I'll give him that. After all, we're almost the same in that regard. Almost. I'm still a better person, of course. He tells me to put the gun down, but I see no reason why I should. I'm a homeowner in defense of my own home. I have the right to, I'd like to think. Questionable permit of firearms aside. It's not like I wanted this, but I'm already high-strung and their presence does not help. Bloody peasants. I can never seem to figure out how their minds fully work. And I should have also expected he won't let this end in this kind of standstill.
Sorry about this. I really don't have time for you.
A short lapse. It's all it is. One moment of letting my guard down. Before I can react, he fires 2 shots in quick succession. A sound crackling through the empty foyer, almost as loud as the storm raging outside, breaking the tense air in the room. Pain explodes in my wrist no 2 seconds later. Just a graze, however. It is enough to cause my fingers to tense and the pistol slides to the floor with a dull thud.
Why, you insolent!
The next moments happen in a blur. In the following second, I am being tackled bodily to the ground. Back hitting the cold floor hard and my arm pinning me down by the neck. There's a fleeting minute of panic and struggling while I try to untangle myself from him, but he manages to knock me out. And then... a scream. A wail piercing through the thick air, shrill and sharp enough for the both of us to cover our ears and hunker down on our knees. And with each sharp note beating harshly against my head are the images again. Faces and voices so utterly unfamiliar, seeping into my every crevice, turning sinister with each shift. They are not mine, but they might as well be with how vivid and crisp they appear. Over and over they all flash behind my eyes until it becomes unbearable. Pounding, throbbing, thudding against my skull, worse than any headache and a hangover can give. Bloody, I'll take a hangover over this any day. The haze begins to fill my vision as black spots dance around the corners of my eyes. Beside me, the detective suddenly moves, shouting a name I don't quite hear, and then...
Ash!
In the next second, he falls down on one knee, desperately trying to keep himself up with what strength he has left. But eventually, his own body caves in. Taking the horrified walk down with him, muttering quietly to him as something distinctly red flows from his body. Blood? This man isn't supposed to be dead yet. He isn't supposed to be. I didn't shoot him. I'm sure of it. So what killed him? What in bloody blazes is going on here? Is it so wrong just to want a quiet night when nothing needs attending to? Just one normal night? Quickly, everything has turned crazy with perilous happenings that are hard to explain. But it seems that, when it comes to me, death is always around the corner. I want to look him over. This is going to cause more problems. And the screaming and crying for a detective who's died for no apparent reason is giving me a migraine. I need to get all these people out of my house, one way or the other. But in the blurry mess of my vision, none of this registers enough to compel my body to move. Nothing does, except for the voice unexpectedly ringing above the discord, and when I finally gather the strength to look up, everything falls away into the background. All that matters is her.
I told you, didn't I? Everything you're doing is useless, Ashton Frey. And now, you're dying. Meddlesome fool.
Hannah?
Oh, Luke, darling, my love. What do you think you're doing out here this late?
The woman that stands there is the one that I married, the love of my life. So why is it that the look she gives me now makes me feel so revolted? Makes it so that there is just a general sense of wrongness in the way she smiles at me.
Hana! Oh, thank goodness, it's just you. Oh, you gave me quite the fright. We've been looking all over for you.
Saying this makes my tongue feel heavy. I'm so used to lying, to putting on a face, but this just feels so wrong. It's such a small lie, yet a big one at that. To be afraid at the sight of my own wife for no apparent reason is illogical. Yet, her mere presence has been disturbing. From her suddenly devoted and near-dependent nature, her obsession and possessiveness to her strange way of speaking, something has been wrong with Hana as of late. I didn't want to admit it, but it was almost as if she turned into another person overnight. And looking up at her now only seems to solidify this. It's almost as if I can't recognize my own wife.
Fetch me. Whatever for, my prince.
Look, that doesn't matter right now. You need to get out of this house right now, alright? Stay in the penthouse for a while.
Leave our home? What if I wish to stay?
It's not safe here, darling. Now is not the time to explain. Just listen to me. Okay, Buttercup?
I hold out my hand to her in the hopes that she won't ask any more questions. I shove away the ill thoughts I have about her, about how this is not the wife I've married. People change, and now is not the time to have some sort of existential crisis about it. Our safety is priority right now, and I'll feel better about all of this as long as I can have her by my side. But she barely budges from her place atop the stairs, let alone take my hand. And the way she looks at me just sends chills down my spine.
Why should I? Is something the matter? What about you? Are you not coming with?
What was I supposed to say? Where to even start? Does she not see the detective's dead body? Maybe just confess there's some crazy lady roaming around and I'd really like it if we just stayed safe?
You just need to leave for a while so I can let security sweep the place. And someone has to be there, yes? To supervise and all. That'll be my job, Buttercup.
Still, nothing. She doesn't move from where she stands, still with that amused grin on her face, as if this is all some funny joke and she's the only one who can see the punchline.
But I do not wish to leave. And you should not either. You've just arrived, my prince. This is your home. Our home. Would you really allow others to drive us away from it?
Be that as it may, it is dangerous here right now, and I'd rather have you safe than, oh, I don't know, comfortable or whatever argument you wish to bring up. This is ridiculous, Hana. We shouldn't be discussing this. You need to leave now. Let me handle things here, Buttercup.
It is then that her expression turns absolutely horrific, and everything turns to complete and utter shite. Hana's body shudders and shakes, as if she's about to have a seizure until her visage ripples and changes. Golden yellow hair is slowly stained with inky black, and her face melts into that of the woman, the maid from before, with a menacing expression on her face. Along with it, the shifting of the very ground we stand on. It's a slow thing, a whisper more than a bang, as the darkness creeps into every corner of the room. The walls shudder and groan. Blood runs from the ceiling, crawls down the walls, and stains the floor. It feels as if life itself is being sucked from the house slowly but surely. The beauty of the place is gone, with only the dead, decaying remains of a mansion left in its wake. I don't have to wonder if it's just the foyer that's become this nightmarish place. I can already hear it. Gone are the growling of thunder and the lashings of rain and wind against the foyer's high windows. All of it's been replaced by a more grating sound. A cacophony of voices from nowhere and everywhere echoing throughout the now horrid walls. A voice that neither belongs to us nor the people who live here.
What's going on?
All throughout the house, shouts of alarm and surprise ring out, a mirror to the horror creeping up in each of us. Who wouldn't be shocked? This is insane. Even Daisy, feisty woman that she is, trembles at the sight of it, clinging desperately to Lily, while Steele stands protectively in front of the two. I suppose it only makes sense for the man to take on the role when their friend is gone. Something to hold on to when there seems to be no end in sight to this insanity. If anything, this only feels like it's the beginning. Or the end.
Help me! Oh my god! Please! Somebody! Anybody! Who are you? Stay away!
No. Stay away. Stay away.
I'm sorry.
Their screams fill the mansion. She laughs all the while, a harsh, agonizing sound that goes on for what feels like forever. Until there is nothing but silence, her horrid smile, a pale hand reaching out to me, calling. beckoning, pleading. I'm terrified. I really am, like I should be, but I've never been one to truly stay afraid. I've long learned that fear will not get me anywhere. Cowering in a corner doesn't keep me safe, and it will not keep me alive. Not like rage does. I've learned to use this burning hate inside of me to survive. There is no difference now.
Stay away from me!
Why do you wish to leave? This is where you belong, my lord. Remember the blood we share? This is your home. Don't you remember? You promised to return, to stay. Together with me, with us. With people no different from you.
Don't listen to her, she lies! I promised no such thing to anyone. We bought this house weeks ago. How should I know what she's babbling about? I never even wanted to be here in the first place!
A terrible case of mistaken identity. That must be it. I'm quite sure of it. I don't know this woman, this monster. Why would I say that to someone like her? In my entire lifetime, I've only made and kept sincere promises to a mere two people, Hannah Evans and Eleanor Chandler. No one else. The rest of those who claim I promised anything to them can go fuck themselves. Bloody hell, I may enjoy the company of women, but I am not an idiot to start spouting nonsense to anyone. A line must be drawn, especially if I am to keep myself alive. Yet, she still goes on, insists, making me appear a liar in front of these people.
Of course you still deny it. Have you truly forgotten? You haven't changed, I see. Still a deceiver.
She's lying!
You see, my love, nothing has changed. Still no difference, you and I. Just like the rest of us. Just like every single soul in this putrid wreck. We've waited for so long. You can hear them, yes? Their pleas, their calls, their invitation. Come, my lord. The house seeks its master.
The monster reaches out again. Her hands a gory, abhorrent sight, along with that smile spread across her face. My body's already moving on instinct. Stumbling back, one step at a time, in a desperate bid to be away from her. Anything to put distance between me and this vile creature. No matter what she says, I am nothing like her. I need to get out of this house. Out of this country, preferably. There is nothing for me here. Not anymore. Nothing to keep me tied to this place. With Hannah beyond saving, no longer the same woman I knew, and Falcon likely taken by this woman, nothing's left to bind me to this wretched city. I can leave. I can... My footsteps on something, sending me sliding on my back and flat on the floor. Besides me, a paper, a familiar one, flutters down. It's this thing again, from the open house. It feels less like a gimmick and more like a threat with its recent events. It must have fallen from the detective in the commotion earlier. And with its owner having met a gruesome death, now it simply bears its equally grisly message for everyone in the room to see. Help me. Help me. Help me. Is this it? What have they been telling us? Why everything in my life has gone to shite? Because of some stupid old letter? An invitation indeed. One I am not willing to accept. Not any time. From the top of the stairs, the creature moves again, drawing my attention back to her. Her gait remains slow and awkward as she walks forward, that smile never leaving her. But I won't give her the chance. I'm not dying here. I'm certainly not giving myself to a hideous creature like her, either. Adrenaline kicks in, and despite panic gasps and worried glances from Daisy's friends, I pay them no mind as I reach for the main door, and... without warning, it slams open, revealing not the mansion grounds like I'm expecting. Before my mind can even comprehend what's happening, black tendrils have already coiled tightly around my limbs, dragging every person into the foyer into the room. None of us even get to scream when darkness completely envelops us upon the doors closing.
Understand where your place is now, my love. You belong here. Is it so difficult to grasp? We've been waiting.
There's a moment of panic when the feeling of the tendrils around my limbs finally dissipates. As soon as my eyes adjust to the darkness of the room and I'm on my feet, I'm reaching for my knife, holding it out, watching, waiting for every movement, using it as a way to put distance between me and these peasants. Who knows what they'll do now? We're all desperate to get out of this house. There's only 5 of us in this room, 3 of them, friends at that. Though Mint has already gone loon, crouched in the corner and muttering to herself, you can't really say anyone's safe from her. If anything, she's the one I should watch out for. I cannot trust these people not to turn on me. I cannot trust anyone. Not anymore. Not after this. Despite the pleading looks Lily shoots my way while they all huddle in the corner behind Steel. But I had to remind myself that even people like her are capable of doing the unpleasant. She's only human after all. It's never an excuse. Why, even Hana has her cunning manipulative moments, though she does it much subtler than I. Why else would Lily show this letter to us that day if not to save herself? I guess that backfired on her now that she and her own friends are also stuck here. Still, I have every right to be livid. Everything that I've built has fallen apart. All because these people came into our lives.
You! All of you! This is all your fault! If I'm dying to this bloody case, I'm taking you all down with me!
Hey now, Mr. Wright. I know the situation ain't good, but we have to calm down. We're all in the same boat here.
You shut your mouth! If it weren't for you, for this letter, for all of you, none of this would have happened! Hana would still be...
Suddenly Daisy steps up and slaps a knife away from my hand.
Don't you dare, Luke! Don't you dare put that blame on us!
Without batting an eye, glaring at me as if she might just rip my head off in this instant, said knife slides uselessly under the table, out of my reach. I should have expected she's not the kind to submit even under threat. Right now, all of us appear smaller, facing her anger. Last I checked, we're the ones trying to do the saving here.
And what about your friend over there? Are you saying she is responsible for this mess? For the lives this sorting letter took? Dragging other people into her own problems just so she could save her little sorry self? You think I haven't seen that before? Getting real tired of your double standards, Daisy!
You know this curse is an entirely different issue, Luke. Because, knowing you, I don't doubt that even without that blasted letter, you would have eventually...
Rebecca, stop! All of you stop this!
To hear Lily speak out, I can't say I'm not surprised. She has always given me the impression of someone so meek from the moment I've met her, either from her inexperience or her station in life. She has never struck me as someone fitting to be a real estate agent, until now. Quietly, she puts herself between me and Daisy, cutting whatever scathing words we've yet to hurl at each other. The way she glares at me, it reminds me a little of the way my own mum would look at me, particularly when I've done something wrong, and it's not a stare she's unused to showing. She has done this before, probably to a younger sibling. Huh. If she only sees us now as a pair of squabbling kids and not too mature adults, well, that's only to be expected. No doubt that's how she sees us. For a long moment, there's only silence in the room. Steele, the big oaf, doesn't even dare to break it, merely watching the three of us behind two women who he towers over significantly, too soft. Not that it matters when Lily starts speaking again, after some of the anger and tension has lifted from the room.
Stop this, please! With or without that damn piece of paper, we...
A deep breath. An exhale. And then she closes her eyes, a crease forming between her eyebrows while she grips her hand tightly in front of her.
We still would have ended up in this mess.
The atmosphere that descends into the room right after that admission is anything but pleasant. Can I call it that? An admission? It seems like it from the way her eyes nervously flick between her friends and I. She appears to know more than she lets on, and how she makes herself appear smaller after dropping that bomb on us doesn't sit quite well with me. And patience is something I don't have the luxury of having right now, bestowing upon other people. What else does this girl know? What else is she not telling us? Because from the looks of this, even her friends have no idea what she's talking about. Unwilling to wait, I grab her arm before she retreats without explanation, waving the letter still in my hand in front of her.
Ow! Sir, you're hurting me!
Luke, will you stop taking it out on every single person?
Your friend is hiding something, Daisy.
She struggles for a moment, but my hold eventually forces her to look up at me. Fear and uncertainty spread across her features, especially when her eyes land on the damn paper. As much as I want to be considerate right now, I want answers.
What do you mean, Lily?
I'm not sure about it.
Don't give me that, you know something!
Ow! Please, sir. I know the paper's useless, okay?
At the mention of the letter, all of a sudden Mint stands. I've almost forgotten she's here, her ramblings having faded away in the shouting. Without warning, she snatches the paper out of my hand. It's a miracle it didn't rip right then and there. But the way she glares at it, I think she may want to do exactly that.
We should have gotten rid of this thing! We should have burned it at the first opportunity we got! No, even if we rip it to shreds, it won't do anything. I think...
You don't know what I've seen, Santos. There were children! Victims! All because they had no idea what this thing will do to them! Oh God, those poor souls! They were screaming and begging before she...
Then what about those people they mentioned in the news lately? All those who died? My coworkers? The open house clients? None of them had seen it. Even Rose. And yet they're all dead. I should know. That letter has been with me since I picked it up. And I swear I didn't make copies of this thing. Even if I wanted to save myself, I wouldn't do that to my friends. Or anyone.
And yet we're all here! Are you taking me for a fool, Lily?
I have to go with whiskey on this. Who knows how many has already seen this before you found it? This cursed thing has to go!
We would have ended up here either way. Maybe? I really don't know. Sir, please. All I know is that paper isn't the reason why all of this is happening. There's something else that...
This place.
Steele has been quiet this entire time. At the sound of him talking, however, whispered "it is" still manages to catch us all off guard. We all pause, turning to him, likely the same question in our eyes.
What?
I just remembered something a friend told me. You know, stuff about ghosts or curses. You probably don't want to hear it.
No, it might be something. What about this place, Zach? Maybe it's also the reason why Ash went here.
There's still a moment where he hesitates, but Lily's urging eventually spurs him into speaking.
Remember what I told you the last time you and Ash visited? A few days ago?
Steele pauses while he allows Lily to remember. Soon enough, whatever it is dawns on her, and her face lights up with something like hope. Of all things, in this nightmare, hope. Her head snaps up and she reaches for Steele's arm to give it a squeeze. A reassurance or a confirmation? The meaning is lost even to Daisy, who glances at them, baffled.
Belle, what are you... Becca, it's this place.
What? You mean, like, burn this place down?
I still think we should get rid of this letter before we start thinking of destroying a place with some historical value!
What? No! We are not burning a multi-million-pound mansion, you peasants! I just spent a fortune on this! Bloody fucking hell! Not only do I have trespassers on my property, but they're also arsonists!
It's not only that. Think about it.
Then they proceed to tell me some ridiculous narrative about the supernatural. Stories about ghosts, legends, curses born out of great anger and pain, whatever else people use to scare children. Hold on a minute. Okay, sorry about that. Stories about ghosts, legends, curses born out of great anger and pain, or whatever else people use to scare children. Not that I believe any of it, as if knowing will help. Bunch of loons, these people, officially off their rockers. To think I'll be stuck in this nightmare with people like them. What did I ever do in the world? Of course, it's all absurd until...
I think it's just like what the professor guy said. Just like that old story. This mansion and some other thing might be keeping her here. You know, something he wanted in life, but never got to have. Something like that.
Or maybe it's not something, Zachary.
Someone. The who doesn't have to be uttered out loud. There's only one person in this room who that woman calls after. Every single one of them has heard it. Bloody hell, it's in the reluctant shift in Daisy's eyes when they flicker over to me, though only briefly. She's also holding information on her own, or perhaps a realization she just had. Doesn't matter. I know when people have slowly started to turn on me, how do they think I lasted in this cutthroat world? Betray them before they do the same thing to you. Put a knife in their back before they can act. Kill or be killed. Survival in a nutshell. What now? Are they going to throw me at that creature? See what happens to save themselves? I'm no fool.
No. You're all in on this, aren't you? Of course! Of fucking course!
Luke, that isn't what I
am going nowhere near that woman! If you people think that's still honor, you all need to get your eyes fucking checked!
How dare they suggest something like that? Bloody peasants. My head's already aching just listening to them. They think this is all the solution they can come up with? I should have just stabbed all of them and made a run for it. It doesn't help that with each second we spend talking here, the crazier this whole place gets. The voices have become louder and somehow sounding more vicious. If the things in this room start floating, mark my words, I will fucking flip out. And they may not be thinking it right now, but eventually they'll turn on me. Such is the nature of humans. Gotta find a way out of this place as soon as possible. If I want to stay alive. Fuck, I still have so much to do. None of our choices seem sound, but who knows? We don't understand a shite about this place. Might as well try everything, yeah? Whatever works. I also have to be the one to make the bloody decision, so be it. Less room for errors, with the only sane one doing the thinking. On the off chance I'm wrong, well, they suggested it. I decide to. Oh, really? Oh, I guess I should just, let's decide. Okay, so we are at number 1. Let's, burn the mansion since the letter doesn't matter. I'm going to regret this, I will. But with these cries growing louder, this has become the easiest decision I've ever made. I'm getting tired of hearing her sobbing, really. It's just irritating. Is she getting tired of it? Besides, someone has to act fast, think fast, and what else is the root cause of our problems with this place where the letter was found? No need to make things more complicated. It started here, why not end it here? If what Lily has said is true, then there's all the more reason to destroy it. To put an end to this madness before someone thinks of putting this blasted place up in the market. When I get out of this place, I swear I'm suing a bunch of people. Run that estate company to the ground if need be. We spent millions, damn it. Millions! With a sigh and perhaps a heavy heart, I opened one of the drawers in my study table, taking a bottle of liquor out for myself and passing it to every occupant in the room. They accept it, but not without a look of protest or confusion glanced my way. It does shut them all up, so maybe I've done something good. Even more when I pop the cork off the bottle and pour its contents on the floor.
Well, what are you simpletons waiting for?
We waste no time in dousing the whole room. The smell of alcohol filling the air. If I didn't know any better, I'd say they're more than eager to set this whole place on fire. And the blaze catches easily in this room when I set it alight, using the blasted paper as kindling. With the whole place drenched with wine and all manner of things alcoholic I've been hiding from Hannah, the small fire turns into an inferno. In a matter of seconds, we're out the door. Doesn't exactly lead where I'm hoping it will. Although any in the kitchen does give us more reason to play like a bunch of pyromaniacs. Fishing the liquor stocks from the cupboards, we also do the same thing we've done to the study. Door after door in every room we pass, pouring bottle after bottle of expensive aged liquor and setting everything on fire, only leaving once the blaze has started in earnest. When we run out of liquor, we simply drop the bottle and take one from the many nooks I've stashed one. And there's no lack of it here. The hard stuff, the shorts, the watered down kind. Gifts from a distant relative, friends, so-called friends. You name it, I made sure there's always one within reach. Anna called me out on this numerous times before, telling me the same thing. I've always told her she doesn't know the half of it before completely dismissing her concerns. Were that woman. Turns out it'll be useful now. Not to drown out my sorrows, but for this, wonder of wonders, though I suppose I can now say it has also saved my life. There's no time for some introspection now, because with each room we pass and burn, the place also becomes easier to navigate, as if it's slowly righting itself, returning to what it's supposed to be. Soon we finally find ourselves standing before the main door. The strong odor of burning wood, cloth, and varnish alike wafts from under the doors of the rooms we've previously torched, filling the hall with a thick black smoke. The blaze has also started in earnest in every part of the house. I can already feel the heat seeping from the rooms we've set aflame. In a matter of minutes, flames will engulf the whole house. Fittingly, that is when she appears again before us, watching us from atop the stairs while her world goes up in flames around her. However, what catches my eye is that expression on her face. Not the vile smile I've already grown accustomed to, or the one where her eyes gleam with complete hatred. This one? Forlorn is the only word I can think of to describe it.
No, please. Help me. Help me, please.
Can the dead still feel? Can she hear us? Or is that merely another one of her tricks to trap us in this nightmare? Like this, however, she seems almost like the woman she used to be. I have to remind myself she's no longer Hannah. The woman I loved is gone, and who stands before me is nothing but a pale imitation of who she used to be. I don't waste any time pondering over it. Not with the exit just a few steps away. The door's finally open, and through it I can glimpse the world outside. Safety. However, I do turn if only to see the last of her. A farewell, more than anything. For all her attempts to lure me, draw me in, her wishes to be with me, she does not stop me. When I finally run from this horrid place, quietly she disappears. Watching a multi-million-pound house burn before me? For some reason, nothing about this bothers me. Maybe it's that one last look on her face that has changed it. Maybe it's what I've seen and heard inside. There's only a calm, a stillness. The same hush that comes after a terrible storm has swept the countryside, and with it is the sight of the sun rising over the horizon. Ever so slowly the sky begins to lighten before my eyes, darkness giving way to the warm morning hues, soft rays spilling over the vast expanse of Luxburn's countryside. Nearby, the trees sway and rustle with the breeze, a passing draft that carries even into this room from outside, cold enough to make me shiver. The remains of a storm that has passed. In the distance I can hear the soft chirping of birds while the rest of the world stirs, wakes. Dawn at least. We are free. Epilogue. Like the flames that engulfed the mansion that night, whispers quickly spread across Luxburn City after the incident. Officers who investigated have simply deemed it an unfortunate accident, resulting in the deaths of innocent lives. Regardless of the truth, Luke Wright files criminal charges against Briar Realty Corporation after, for undisclosed reasons to the public, forcing the latter to declare bankruptcy, a move that has merely stoked the rumors further. But for those who still believe in the stories of the old and those who know the truth, it is but a testament to the curse and the secrets of Ermengarde Mansion has hidden for centuries. If there will come a time those will finally be revealed, only the ashes of the now ruined mansion know. However, on nights when the wind howls and thunder booms across the sky, some still claim hearing of voices where it once stood, of cries and wails that fill the night, and desperate calls of help for anyone who dares listen, and for those who once tread its halls. Although Luke Wright has won his legal battle with Briar Realty Corporation, another tech leak places him and Wright Enterprises under the spotlight months later. This time, however, with the then Chief Inspector Harvey Lee's sudden absence, the businessman isn't able to escape close scrutiny. In an investigation headed by the newly appointed Chief Inspector, Abigail Harris, of all of Wright Enterprises' illegal business dealings with the past 10 years come to light. Although his involvement with other crimes is still being investigated, the disclosure has caused a huge outcry, especially from the city's business sector. Sued on multiple grounds, the company is ultimately forced to shut down. Meanwhile, to avoid public outrage, the once affluent businessman immediately leaves the city. All of his bank accounts have been emptied, including his Luxbourne apartments, leaving not a single trace or clue where he might be hiding. The last anyone has seen of the man was on the flight bound for Ireland. To this day, no one has heard from him, even his people from the old Wright Enterprise, who have all been left to deal with the aftermath. Though over the past few months, after the situation has calmed, some have made claims of spotting him flitting in and out of the city, if only to check on those who he has left behind. Months after her recovery, Marianne McCullough heads back to her homeland, ready to close a chapter of the past she has left hanging for so long. There, she visits Lorraine's grave, asking for forgiveness from the girl she once loved, something she has intentionally avoided for years. In spite of this, a different regret still clings to her, one that has been left by what she has witnessed inside the Ermengarde Mansion. She never returns to Luxbourne after, leaving her interior design company in the hands of her secretary instead. So with her absence, the business eventually declines until they are forced to shut it. Unexpectedly, she turns to music years later, hoping it'll someday drown out the voices and the gruesome memories still lingering in her head. By some stroke of luck, or an unfortunate circumstance of fate, Marianne encounters Luke Wright once again, almost a year after she returned home. She meets the man in the local marketplace, newly settled, fumbling and confused. Although her opinion of him remains ambivalent at best, she reluctantly offers help, especially after seeing him stumble on his Gaelic more times than she deems acceptable, and it becomes a start. Not to a close friendship by any means, but perhaps something akin to it. And on better days, when vitriol and scathing words don't get in the way, there's only the pleasant companionship one offers to the other. Casual visits to the other's home, sharing a bottle of wine or two, and simply talking about anything under the sun. A comfort after their mutual loss. Something they both eventually learn to appreciate with time. With the help from family and friends, Zachary Steele is soon able to open a photography studio of his own, something he has only dreamed of having as a child. Although he still hopes to get back to making indie films someday, client work and small projects has kept him mostly busy. Hectic as it may be, he can only be glad for the amount of work pouring in. It has made moving on from the incident in the Ermengarde Mansion easier, if not faster. Even with his success, he still hasn't forgotten what he has lost during that time. But while there are still nightmares, with support from his family, his doctor, and his own drive, the dark images have finally turned into pleasant dreams. He's aware he won't ever truly forget, but he's no longer running away. At times, when he's not busy, or after a hard day's work, he thinks there's another story for the big screen to be told in that. An idea he may soon turn into reality once his time affords it. Despite his business success, however, Zach has never forgotten the sacrifice a friend has made for him. Even after so many years, he remains a constant visitor where Ashton Frey lies, staying for a whole day sometimes, reveling him with stories about his day. Although the wounds are still fresh, Zach trudges on with life instead of wallowing in his grief, knowing his old friend would not want him clinging on to sorrow like he used to years before. It is how he has chosen to honor him. In the months that follow, Rebecca Gales becomes a prominent researcher within Luxbourne's major academic circles, especially after writing that she has discovered about Anselm Village and the Ermengarde Mansion. With the help from Professor Andrew Clark, she is soon able to secure funding to continue her research, presenting her findings yearly at local and international symposiums. Now at the tail end of her current study, she hopes to publish her first book, correcting all inaccuracies in the city's current history, a move supported by both colleagues, students, and friends alike. Though she knows she is still a long way to go before she can begin to change people's minds about it, Professor Clark has warned her as much, she perseveres, doing it not for herself but for the sake of what she lost after the curse. As fresh as the wounds are still, this is how she remembers. No matter how disturbing her experience with the curses may have been, she remains the warrior she has always been. Even after what she has seen, she continues to fret over people she cares about, sometimes much to their frustration or embarrassment. But if there's one thing she has shifted, it's her relationship with people in their little group, particularly with Zachary Steele. In fact, on numerous occasions, she has been spotted dropping by his new studio, bringing the man food on days when he's swamped with work. They also seem to have grown more comfortable around each other than before. Maybe it's been born out of their shared experience. Or maybe the way they see each other has simply changed naturally due to the years they've known each other. Regardless of the whys, it's a change the man welcomes and appreciates. In turn, he strives to return her kind gestures whenever he can. For all the horrors they've seen, who would have thought something good would come out of it? Amidst her struggles, Rebecca finds an unlikely companion in Luke Wright. While he avoids the city like a plague nowadays after losing his company and Hana, he manages to drop by from time to time, mostly to check on his goddaughter, Kylie Suarez, though the man still won't admit it when asked. Rebecca still regards the man as insufferable. She doubts it'll ever change, but after all she has seen, much as she denies it, she now considers his presence the closest thing she has to comfort. A similar sentiment the former businessman seems to hold, even confiding in the woman of his problems, petty or otherwise. Their friendship may be awkward at best, but with the grim reality of death having once shadowed over the two of them, it's something they eventually grow fond of in time. With her newfound courage, Isabella Santos finally chooses to pursue what she really wants for herself, having made enough to keep her family afloat for a few years, and with their blessing she quits her job at Briar Realty Corporation and takes the scholarship offer from the local university. Though remarkably out of practice and unsure if she'll be able to keep up by the time she returns to university, she finds her feet soon enough with the help of people close to her. And with her confidence and her skills growing, so do the numbers of people recognizing her and her work. It doesn't take long for several award-winning bodies to take notice of her. For all her accomplishments, however, she has never truly forgotten what happened at the Ermengarde Mansion, nor what she has lost. The images still remain in her, and on particularly unpleasant nights, terrors continue to visit her dreams. She knows those won't ever disappear from her life. It's become part of her in the same way death has permanently taken from her. However, she's no longer afraid. With a brave face, she carries on, earnestly wishing that someday she'll be able to paint brighter, more vivid thoughts on her canvas. An honest portrayal of life and hope amidst the fear. Shortly after accepting the scholarship grant from Luxburn University, Isabella moves from Salem Well residence in favor of staying in a dorm close to her campus. Although Rebecca Gale's quick to offer assistance for the move, she does admit she will be missing her neighbor of more than 5 years. When all is said and done, she has become fonder of the girl over the years, and with their shared experience over the curse, they have grown only closer. Isabella leaves with a promise to visit every once in a while. And even though she still jokingly complains about Rebecca's bossy attitude, she confesses that she also misses the woman's fussing. After all, in a place miles away from her real family, Rebecca is still the closest thing she has to a sister. More than a year later, once everything in their respective lives have settled, Zachary Steele and Isabella Santos finally hold their first exhibit together. A project that has been in the making for almost 2 years, after the photographer casually brought it up to the other artist. While merely intended as a small event, it has been surprisingly attended by several members of Luxburn's upper class and art enthusiasts. Although only a few of the pieces have been meant for sale, the show has brought prominence to Zachary and Isabella's names in the city's art scene. It has been since followed by several other exhibits by the two, both in and out of the city. Currently, they are planning to hold their first show overseas. Yet, even with this unexpected, overwhelming fame, friendship between the two has remained strong. Theirs, after all, is a bond that goes beyond mere partners in a small project. He's her family, as much as she is his. Okay, my goodness, that was quite a journey. This is good. I think overall, I don't really fully understand how the paths all work out. I still think it was a pleasant experience. This game is incredibly well written, and you can tell that the native language was English, or some very, very good English translators did the work on the script. Because this actually reads like a novel, an English read novel, versus something which has just been kind of hastily translated or done as best as they could, which a lot of these visual novels are. Listen, I'm not all that fond of the artwork itself, but it's not like it's bad. It's all very good stuff. I just don't know if I like the style necessarily, personally. Although that shouldn't stop anyone from purchasing this game. I think it's well worth your time. and we've only covered one route, one ending. So obviously there are many, many more, depending on the kind of choices that you make throughout the game. Like I said, I think it's sort of a shame that I had to lose Hana and Ash in my playthrough, but these were all the choices that seemed to make sense to me. You know, I'm sure whatever the true ending is involves choices which wouldn't make sense to me. So, you know, I suppose this is how the developers felt should happen to you, depending on how you treat your friends, which is interesting. I think we're done with this playthrough, though. If you want to examine all the routes and all the game has to offer, I really highly suggest that you pick it up for yourself. Again, this is available for all the game systems and PC, so if you have a PlayStation or a Switch or an Xbox, you have the ability to play this game, and I highly suggest you do. It was really a lot of fun. I think it was well done. I'd be interested to see what these developers decide to do next. If they want to keep doing horror, or if maybe they want to do you know, something slice of life or comedy. You never know. There's elements of all of that kind of in here. You know, there is some lightheartedness here and there, so I think the comedy could be something potential. But you know, if they stick with horror, I think that's just fine. I don't know if this is like truly horror. Obviously, we played some horror visual novels, which I think were more disturbing. But this does have points where things are, you know, a bit creepy. You know, maybe not to the point where you're really panicking, but you know, it definitely made you feel a little anxious here and there, and I think that's good. It's very difficult to convey horror into words, and even with limited visuals, you know, I think they did well enough. I don't know if, like I said, if there's some sort of demand for you folks out there that want to see more endings or go through more routes, be more than happy to do it. But I think most of us are exhausted by now. This game has gone on for a lot longer than I thought, and unfortunately, I will say that while this has been a good experience, the only bad thing about it is the QTEs. Thankfully, there are not a large number of them, but on the Xbox, certainly, the QTEs are basically broken. So I'm glad they have the option to skip them, because had I depended on the QTEs to progress the story, you know, I would have ended up being much more frustrated than I should be. But yeah, there's a massive amount of delay on the QTEs from the time you hit the button to when you see something on screen. In general, that's true even if you're pressing the buttons and going through dialogue. There's still a little bit of a delay, and if you're sensitive to it, you'll notice it. But you know, obviously for a visual novel, it's not that important to have you know, a close response. But it is a shame.
Tio? Where are you, Tio? Tio? Please? She's here! She's still here, Tio! Help me! Please!
Shadow Fairy Tale. Dear you, if you're reading this, that means you finished playing the game in one way or another. And we thank you for the time you spent playing The Letter. This game is our passion project more than anything, and we sincerely hope we delivered in bringing you a one-of-a-kind visual novel experience. The Letter is, hopefully, the first of many visual novels coming from us. If you like what we did with this game and would like to support us, please consider donating to our Patreon. Go check that out. You can also follow us on social media to get the latest updates. Our usual handle is Yang Mobile. Thank you so much for everything. Let's talk soon. Love, YYM team. Okay, so this isn't a native English game, but yeah, whoever they got to do the translation to English, you know, bang up job. So there you go. That was The Letter. I don't know what route that was. I'm sure it's in the achievements, because modern games and achievements, you know, so goddamn annoying. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching, and let me know, of course, in the comments if you want to see more routes, I'll be more than happy to do some of them. Although I can't do them all. I don't want to reveal everything. But definitely purchase the game. I think it's well worth your time, and I think it's a visual novel that we'll remember, long after we play other ones. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.